And Amy T. Meyer is an associate professor at the pharmacy at the St. Louis College of Pharmacy. And you're an associate professor. Thanks for joining us.
Glad to be here.
So I think last year we talked about this. You have this sort of collect unused or expired medications week here in town.
Yeah, and that's the DEA does this event twice a year, nationwide.
Right.
And then once a year, in partnership with the DEA, we do Med Take Back throughout the week prior to the big event.
Last year, the number was so astronomical, it shocked me.
It is shocking how much, and when the DEA started doing Med Take Back, they thought they'd see an increase for a few years, and then they thought, well, we'll get it all out of people's homes, and the numbers will go down.
Right.
And that's actually not been the case. As people have become more aware, there is more and more every year that...
Do you have a number of how much they take out?
They are up to, I believe, like 400,000...
Pills.
Well, no, not pills. 400,000 tons, or let's say 400 tons. I can't remember. Sorry.
But it's
a lot. It's
you're
just
talking pounds and
yes.
pounds of all. Are these aspirins? Are these children's chewables, or are they prescription pain pills?
They're everything. So we're getting everything from over the counter. So vitamins, right? So we all had really good New Year's resolutions to start taking our vitamins.
Okay.
And we bought the big bulk bottle from Costco or wherever, and we're not taking those anymore. So we get rid of those. But our prescription medications, sometimes we have health conditions that change, and so we need a new or a different medication. We've got a lot unused, especially in the age of mail order, right? So we've got a lot left over. And sometimes our narcotics. So we have a pain injury, we have a dental procedure. Doctor goes ahead and gives us 60 or 90. Really, most of us probably don't need that many, and we've got a lot left over. And those are probably the riskiest ones that we're really focusing on for these events.
Why do they take them back?
Why do they take them back?
I mean, what's the benefit? Why can't I just throw them away?
Well, there's a couple different reasons. Just throwing them away or flushing them down the toilet, we know that in general medicines are getting into our waterways, affecting our water supply. Our water companies don't have the technology to be able to filter those out.
Right.
And we're worried, people have been known to dig through trash to look for controlled substances to abuse. And so we want to make sure that we're getting rid of them, and really incinerating them is really the best way.
That 400, whatever it was that here in St. Louis, or was that nationwide?
It's nationwide.
Nationwide. All right. So how many years have they been doing this?
Since 2011.
And the numbers keep going up every year.
Numbers keep going up every year.
Staggering. I mean, now we know why we have a heroin problem.
Right. And there's probably larger issues with insurance and things like that. But yeah.
But these are prescription pain pills, oftentimes that are being prescribed by doctors.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So let's get to the event. What do we need to know? Where do we go? What do we do?
So for the event that the larger community can participate in, that's going to be on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And that's wherever you are nationwide, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Right.
Most police stations are participating, so you just go by.
What do you mean by what does that mean, police stations?
Sorry, police stations.
Oh, police stations.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Are participating. So if you go to www.meddisposal.org, you can get a link to the DEA's website, put in your address. They'll give you all the locations that are within a 5 or 10 mile radius of where you live or whatever you're searching.
And then what do? You just bring the pills and drop them off?
Just drop them off. Everything, you can take them in the bottles, no need to remove the labels. Everything that's brought back that they collect goes straight to the incinerator.
And then next year we do it. Actually, you're doing this 3 times a year?
Well, the DEA is doing it twice a year.
Right.
The events that we're doing this week, we do once a year. So what we do is we go out to senior living buildings in the city, because we know that our seniors many times don't have access to transportation, and that 4-hour window is just many times not one that they can make.
Right.
And we also know they have a lot of medications and a lot of drug changes. And so we wanted to make it accessible for them. So we actually go door to door in those buildings throughout this week, knock on the door, say, hey, what do you got? We can help you with that.
I come from a big family, 6 people, and my mother would save her medications and then give it to the next one the next time somebody got sick.
Yeah, so we have heard that, and we see that. That's certainly what people feel like they need to do financially and whatnot. Not a good idea, right? So just like you and I look differently on the outside, the way that we function internally, our disease states, our genetics are different as well. And so what may work really well for me may be actually very harmful for you. And so it's just a dangerous proposition to do that.
So hoarding the drugs is a bad idea.
Bad idea.
How long do drugs normally last before they become stale and or out of warranty or whatever that word is?
So once they've been removed from the bottle at the pharmacy, usually it's about a year if you've kept them in good condition. So you're making sure they're not getting exposed to excessive heat, excessive humidity, excessive sunshine, things like that. So if you've kept them well, probably not kept them in the bathroom or in the kitchen, they're good for a year.
1 year. So we were talking before you got here. We have a couple extra minutes here. All right. So let's just what days of the day? This Saturday?
This Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
10 a.m. 2 p.m. Go to a police station, drop off your pills. Say, McGraw told me to drop off the pills, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
So tell us about the College of Pharmacy, because most of the people who go through the program stay here. Do they go other places? Tell us about the program there.
So we know about 70 or so % of the pharmacists in the metro area are from the St. Louis College of Pharmacy.
Okay.
So a good number of the graduates from the college stay here.
How long does it take to go through the program?
The graduate portion is 4 years, and then you need about 3 years of undergrad prerequisite work to get into the program.
So you could go to some other college and get your 3 years undergrad and then transfer over.
You could do that. We are unique as a pharmacy school in that we're one of the few programs where you can start with us right out of high school and go all the way through.
So you don't need to graduate from UMSL or SLU or whatever. You just need to finish your junior year.
Correct.
And transfer.
Yep.
You know, they used to do that with lawyers. Lawyers wouldn't have to necessarily graduate from undergraduate. They just do 2 or 3 years and then
as long as they've met our prerequisite list, then.
And then the program to become a pharmacist is how long?
4 years.
And are more pharmacists in need? Is it a growing
There
category?
are definitely areas, certainly in our rural areas, we still need pharmacists. The urban areas are getting a little bit more saturated, but there's such a wide range of what pharmacists can do beyond what most people think. So it's not just that person behind the counter counting pills, but you've got clinical specialists who, let's say you go into the hospital and for infection, you've got a pharmacist who is specialized in infectious diseases and knowing the right antibiotics to use. Or if you've got HIV
McGraw,
or
live in the
something
morning.
else like that, pediatrics, geriatrics, there's a whole range of specialties that pharmacists are going into now.
Do they teach you how to write or how to read doctors' handwriting?
There's not necessarily a class, but we give students a lot of exposure so they can do that. It's amazing how good you can get at reading those things. But yeah, it's sometimes a little tough.
So you're saying it really is a skill?
It really is a skill. And some of it's just familiarity, especially if you've got a pharmacist in one location. They get to know those doctors and those handwritings. But yeah, sometimes we still have to call and say, we're not really sure what you intended to mean here. So, we do that to make sure the patients are safe.
Well, the few times you're like, you wrote this with your toes, but here you go. I don't know what this means, but figure it out.
Exactly.
Here, we have another minute or two. Is Jennifer and John there? They're not there.
I think we made it good, but someone texted in on 400 tons were collected in the 8th annual take back. So
400 tons.
I think that you were on the ball there.
456 tons.
hard
were
to
collected in the
comprehend.
8th annual take back event.
Yeah. And in the metro area, I know we're probably about 350,000 pounds that. And
that's shocking.
It is. I should mention one of the extra benefits we have here in the St. Louis area is, in addition to the take back days, we also have permanent drop boxes. So many of our police stations in the area have a drop box specifically for pills, and you can go in there, most of them 24/7, and drop them off. So that's available all year long. So if you can't make the Saturday event, you can search up one of those events too.
Amy T. Meyer, what's the website to find out more?
www.meddisposal.org.
Really interesting stuff. Thanks for coming.